So why would you want to make your own hamburger buns when there are tons of terrific, tasty burger buns you can buy at your specialty store, at your grocery store, everything from Wonder Bread hamburger buns all the way to nice brioche buns? Why would you do this? Well, it's fun, first of all. Second, it really does give you the chance to get some custom flavors in here, and especially to make the look of it different. That's what I'm gonna be doing today with some black sesame seeds on top. Plus, this recipe is really, really good. They come out fluffy and flavorful. So let's get to it. Now you can do this by hand, or if you have a mixer like I do, this is a really easy way to do it. I've got my dough hook on here and I'm just gonna take this off real quickly. And our first ingredient is 3.5 cups of all-purpose flour. You can also use like a bread flour if you want. This is actually a bread flour I'm using, but all-purpose flour works great. And we may end up adding a little more flour after the dough starts getting going. We're gonna see how tacky it is, how dry it is. We'll add flour or water as necessary. But start with 3.5 cups, have a little bit set aside. Next comes 1 teaspoon of kosher salt, 2 tablespoons of just regular white sugar, 1 tablespoon of instant yeast, 2 tablespoons of butter that's sort of soft, just leave it sitting out on the counter for 20 or 30 minutes. 1 egg, and we're gonna start with about 3/4 cup of lukewarm water, so not hot. Don't wanna kill the yeast, we just want it nice and lukewarm. I'm gonna go with about 3/4 cup here. Get our dough hook on. We're gonna start off slow and then we'll slowly increase speed, and we're gonna go until this dough is a nice consistency that's not too tacky and not too dry. And we'll increase our speed as we need to. We'll scrape down the sides as we need to. We're just gonna give this the time to really come together. You can see it's starting to pull away from the sides. It's a little dry, so I'm gonna add maybe a tablespoon more water right now. Let's just make sure everybody's scraped down here. And now it's just a little bit wet, so I probably added a little too much water here, so I'm gonna add a little bit of flour, just maybe a teaspoon or so. There's nothing wrong if you add a little too much water, a little too much flour. Just do it in small increments, that way you can balance it out here. Don't want to add like a whole cup. All right, let's check our dough here. That's looking good. We're gonna get it out of the bowl here and just knead it for a quick second and prepare it to rest. So I'm gonna put a little bit of flour on my countertop here. Got our dough ball. And I just wanna work this a little bit here, not much. Mostly I'm just trying to form it into a ball after working it a bit here. Just like that, we wanna tuck the underside in. Now we're gonna transfer this to a bowl with a little bit of olive oil spray in it. Just wanna wipe that around in there. Just spray a tiny bit on top. Roll this around in there. We don't want anything to stick as this starts to rise. Now I'm gonna cover this with some plastic wrap, and it's gonna sit for 90 minutes or so. Could be a little less, could be a little more. We want this to just about double in size. So I'll see you back here in about 90 minutes. All right. We've been going just about 90 minutes, and looking in from the side, I think we've got a good rise on this. So let's see. Oh yeah, that's looking good. You can see we really got some nice volume there. And what I want to do now is I want to weigh this, because we're going to be dividing this into 8 pieces for 8 burger buns. So let me slide this to the side. Got my scale here. A little bit of parchment paper on it so we don't get dough all over that. Turn it on, and let's see how much we've got. So we have 732 grams here. So at 732 grams for 8 pieces, we're looking at about 90 grams each. So let's go ahead and divide this up. So let's see how this looks. Let's check our weight. 89 grams. Okay, for the first one, I'm gonna go with that because that's pretty close. So what I wanna do is I wanna take this, work it into a ball, kind of like we were doing on the counter. I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna flatten it until it's, kind of the rough shape of a bun, like a circle, because it's going to rise again. And I'm going to place this on a baking sheet that's lined with parchment paper, and we're going to make some more. Let's see how close we get with that one. 95. Yeah, I'll go with that. Again, I'm going to work this into a ball here. And with the olive oil that was on the surface of this dough and in the bowl, it's not very sticky right now. Again, just working that into a little disc shape like that. Maybe 3 inches or so across. See there? 93. I'm going to go with that too. I could spend all day getting it exact to 90, but there's a fun in that. Just like that. I'm going to go ahead and finish these, and I'll bring you back in a minute. So here are the buns. They are all on this parchment paper. I'm going to cover this loosely with plastic wrap, and we're going to let this rise for about an hour. We want these to puff up. You can see some of them are already starting to puff up a little bit here after we flatten them. That's that yeast working in there. So let's get these covered up. Just want to give a quick little spritz of olive oil on the top of these. We don't want them to stick to the plastic wrap. This will just help a little bit. All right, we're just going to let these go. See you back here in about an hour. All right, our hamburger buns have been going through their second rise for about an hour now. Let's uncover them and take a look. Peel back slowly so we don't get too much stickage. Those look good. You can see much puffier than when they started out. So my oven is preheating to 375 degrees. While that's coming up to temp, we're going to go ahead and we're going to give these a little bit of an extra look. Now you could bake these just like this. You could maybe brush some melted butter on them to give them a little bit of a sheen. But what I'm going to do is first brush them with a little bit of an egg white and water mixture. It's 1 egg white and a tablespoon of water. This is going to help our black sesame seeds adhere to the surface. Don't need a lot, just to get a little moisture there and something for them to stick to with that egg white. Should help bond them to the surface. Now you could use regular sesame seeds. You could try some other things too. You're just going to sprinkle some black sesame seeds on here. Everyone's probably had buns with sesame seeds on them. You might have had some with black sesame seeds too. It's just a little bit different look. Makes it a little interesting. One of the other really cool things about this recipe is you could not put the sesame seeds on here and not use these as hamburger buns. You could brush these with say a garlic butter mixture, maybe with some Italian seasoning, and these make great dinner rolls. You just rip them open, eat them. This is great for that. Another thing I want you to notice about these is, look, they're not identical. Some are a little odd shape. Most of them look pretty circular, but you know, these are not manufactured buns. These are ones you make in your home. They're meant to look a little rustic, a little rough, because you're giving them the personal touch. You're not going out and buying those ones which are made in big machines. These are going to be something special. When you make these and you taste these, you have a good burger on them, you're going to know it. People who eat it are going to know you put some love into it. Now, as far as cooking time, generally about 15 to 20 minutes. This is really going to depend on your oven. I've done these in my oven several times, and I know mine is right about 19 minutes. And what you're looking for is for them to puff up as they bake, even more than this. They're gonna get a nice golden color on the outside, not dark brown, not burned or anything like that. And you'll just sort of know. So when you think you have it right, go ahead and pull them out of there. Now you can always sacrifice one for a test and cut it open and see, but it's best to let them cool before you use them. And you may make a batch and decide, next time I gotta go a little longer, or I need to go a little shorter. That's how every oven is. So your first batch may not be the best, but you might luck out. So somewhere 15 to 20 minutes. I know my oven's right about 19 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these in, and I'll see you when they're out. So here are our finished burger buns. I'm gonna go ahead and transfer these now to a cooling rack right under this. So let's get these so they cool down now. If you bake bread or you go to a bakery where bread is freshly made, this is the smell right here, right now. They smell terrific. You can see they're just so light. I mean, they're just beautiful. But I want these to cool down for about 45 minutes or an hour. And then we're gonna cut into one, put a burger in there, and have a taste. So here is one of our buns. The other ones you might see on the counter behind me. But let me show you the bottom side. And you see that nice sort of toasty brown color? That's really a good indicator that these are done. Now, when you're gonna cut these, the inclination might be to use a bread knife, and that may work fine for you, but when I've cut buns like this with a bread knife, with that serrated edge, it has a tendency to tear it a bit. Remember, the hamburger buns that you buy, most of them in the store, are made by machines in factories that are cut very differently than what we would cut them. What I find that works well on this is just a nice long carving knife. As long as it's sharp, it works well. So I like to give the bottom side of this enough thickness and just support it as you cut through. Just like that. Ah, there we go. Nice, soft structure inside, yet there is structure. You can see all the air pockets. Really good development there. And as I mentioned, these make a really good dinner roll if you substitute an Italian-y garlic butter for those sesame seeds. Works really well on these. And now let's build a burger. So I had cut one up and toasted the bottom and the top bun just a little bit. Let's start making the burger. I want to get a little bit of a sriracha mayo on our bottom bun. This is nothing more than mayonnaise mixed with sriracha. Want a good sized piece of lettuce there. Get our burger on. Some tomatoes. And finally some pickles. A little bit of sriracha mayo on the top bun. And there's our burger with our homemade hamburger bun. Let's go ahead and dive in and have a bite. So this is a fairly sizable burger here, but I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna try and get a bite of the whole thing. Here we go. The incredible freshness of that bun hits you. Not just the flavor, but the texture. It is pillowy soft, but it doesn't fall apart. It's just wonderful, wonderful flavor. I always get questions like, how long will these last? Well, honestly, I wouldn't make them that far ahead. Maybe a day or two, keep them in sort of an open bag on the counter, maybe a paper bag. But I'd make them to use them right away because fresh, they are amazing. And yes, you could get buns much more easily at the store, but there is something about saying you made them and having them taste this good.